The city was a swirl of noise and movement. Cars honked, music blasted from stores, people rushed by. It was a city that never sleeps. There was always a pulse in the heart of the city. But amidst this symphony, a lonely voice cried out. A man leaned against the cold brick wall of a store. Pain etched lines on his face, and sorrow shadowed his eyes. His clothes were torn and dirty, his face etched with pain. His body was covered in wounds. He clutched his ribs, blood seeping through his fingers. Blood dripped from his fingers. He looked at his hands, feeling his misery. With each labored breath, his chest heaved. His body trembled as he gasped for air. "Help me! Someone please, help!" His voice was a desperate plea, but no one heard him. His pleas fell on deaf ears. The crowd flowed around him, an indifferent river of humanity. Some glanced at him with indifference, but no one offered help. Their eyes quickly darted away. Others didn't even notice him, lost in their own worlds. Lost in their own worlds. His voice faded into the crowd, the sound of his suffering unheard. A well-dressed businessman, briefcase in hand, walked by. He gave the injured man a cursory glance, his lips curling into a frown. "Not my problem," he muttered, picking up his pace. A young woman, earbuds in, jogged past. She slowed down for a moment, her gaze drawn to the injured man.
"Someone else will help,"
she murmured to herself and then started running again. The injured man closed his eyes, despair washing over him. Was there no humanity in this city? Suddenly, a jolt of realization struck him. A hand touched his. It was a hand of hope. The injured man opened his eyes, pain clouding his vision. A young man, barely in his 20s, knelt beside him. He had come to help. He wore a simple hoodie and jeans, his face etched with concern. Questions filled his mind. "Are you okay? What happened? Where does it hurt?" The injured man could only shake his head, pain piercing through him. He reached out for help. "Help, please," he whispered. Urgency filled his voice. The young man didn't hesitate. He acted swiftly. He quickly pulled out his phone and called for an ambulance. His voice was firm. "Don't worry, help is on its way. Stay with me, I won't leave you." He stayed with the injured man, speaking softly and reassuringly until the ambulance arrived. The paramedics took over, gently lifting the injured man onto a stretcher. They carried him to safety. The young man watched as they wheeled him away, compassion etched on his face. Relief filled his heart. In a world of passers-by, be the one who stops. In a world where indifference often reigns, choose compassion. Love your neighbor as yourself. The city keeps moving, a symphony of its own. But on that street corner, a different kind of music played that day. The music of kindness, compassion, and courage. Who will you be today?